Welcome back. In the last lecture, we understood theories of democracy or or how how representation is there, how participation is there. We have understood about multiple theories of democracies so as to what is more important for democracy. Is it participation or is it representation or is it deliberation? What are the modes of participation, how we should participate, or what is representation we have understood in representative democracy. What should be the outcome of such situation? We have also seen it can be extractive power, it can be developmental power as well, right? So this is the background of this lecture. In this lecture we'll try to understand what is politics of representation and how people participate in political system, right? To make you understand politics of representation and politics of representation and participation, we have to understand what is representation, how representation happen, and how participation happens, right? We have actually learned how and why, right? We understand what and how of politics of representation and participation, right? So we have essentially learned representation and participation in in seven input output model of Gabriel Almond and Powell. Gabriel Almond and Powell. Right? I will again make that table. So there are four input functions and there are four input function, three output function. Four input functions are performed by this is two tables, right? So first input function is political socialization and recruitment. Political socialization and political recruitment. All this is just background. It is performed by family, peer group, school, right? Political socialization, political recruitment. Then political communication is there. It happens through mass media, right? Then there is interest articulation. It is performed by pressure and interest groups. Pressure groups and interest groups. And there is interest aggregation as well. Interest aggregation is performed by political parties. Interest aggregation is performed by political parties. So, so what are the right? How we are going to connect this to representation and participation, right? How people are represented in political system through political parties. How people participate in political system through political parties by way of interest aggregation. How people participate and be represented in political system through pressure groups, through interest groups, right? There is a situation of interest articulation as well. And what peer group or mass media do, they do communication socialization. You can also participate in them. What pressure groups or interest groups other than giving giving a platform of participation do is that they do protests, they do lobbying, right? They do social movements, right? So in this lecture, what will be our focus? What will be our focus? It cannot be family because it is a too small a vector to be analyzed. It should not be peer group, again very diverse thing. It should not be school. Mass media, again we cannot analyze because we are not understanding journalism, we are understanding political science. So in this lecture we should be very focused on number one, pressure groups, number two, political parties, and number three, social movements. Why? Because they are political instruments of representation and participation, right? Political instrument of representation and participation. So to begin with, so to begin with, right? What are the instrument of representation and participation? So it is political parties, it is pressure groups, it is interest groups, it is family, it is school, it is mass media. These are tools of representation and participation. Our focus should be and will be on political parties, pressure groups, and social movements. In this lecture, first we'll try to understand political parties. What are political parties? Political parties. Right? What is a party? Right? Then we will go to political parties, but let's just keep to what is a party. What party is a group of people which are together, which are collectively doing something. Right? Party in general, we understand people having fun, people go to each other places and having good food, having good liquids to drink and have just fun, right? It is just basically a group of people. Party is a group of people, right? Political party are a group of people who conduct politics, right? Political parties are a group of people who conduct politics. In very particular, if I have to explain, what I will say that ideologically similar people, ideologically similar people coming together to do politics is a political party, right? It is a political party. So what is a political party? In as simple word as possible, what is a party? It is a group of people. And what is political? Ideologically similar people conducting politics. What is a political party then? Ideologically similar people conducting politics. But it is not simple as we make it out to be, right? It is not very simple. Political party is not this simple, right? This is a very general perspective with respect to political parties. Scholars have analyzed political party in multiple perspectives. So with respect to definition, there are two broad traditions. With respect to definition, there are two broad traditions. First tradition is traditional approach with respect to political party. Traditional approach with respect to political parties. It was given by Edmund Burke. Edmund Burke calls political parties a set of people who share ideas to fulfill national interest. Right? He calls political parties a set of people, a set of people who share ideas and come together together to fulfill national interest. So, a set of people who share ideas and come together to fulfill national interest. This is traditional approach with respect to political parties. This is traditional approach given by Edmund Burke. This approach is normative. It analyzes question of what should be. Why it is normative? Because it analyzes question of what should be. It is prescriptive. It gives prescription with respect to what should be political parties. It gives solution with respect to what should be political parties. Right? The second broad tradition with respect to political parties is is modern or empirical approach. This modern or empirical approach was given by Max Weber. Max Weber, being the instrumentalist that he is, being the functionalist that he is, being the empirical person that he is, and being a categorically, like, he is a very what you say, he is very comparative person, right? He categorizes things continuously, tries to categorize things. Being the categorical person he is, he suggests what are political parties. He suggests political parties are power machines, right? Political parties are power machines, right? Max Weber says political parties are power machines. The next person who talked about political parties and who defined political parties is Ricker. Ricker says about political parties that political parties are power sharing arrangements, right? Power sharing arrangements. Why it is called as power machine, right? I can justify it by saying that they effectively what they work towards is to get power, right? What effectively they want is power. They want political power. They are not working in social interest, like they are not doing social service. They want power, right? What they want power is a different fact altogether. It is not our area of study, but they want power. They want power. So they are power machines. They can be categorized as, or they can be defined as power sharing arrangements. Power sharing arrangements. How? Right? A set of people coming together to do politics. Politics to do what? Politics to get what? Power. Right? When set of people do politics for power, there has to be sharing of power. Right? Right? BJP is a party of nearly 10 crore people, right? 10 or 15 crore people are members of BJP, right? Among them, 10 crore people, I feel how many people are doing politics or actively doing politics, there should be around 1 lakh people, right? Councillors, panchayats, and all, not 1 lakh people, at least 2 to 3 lakh people should be there, only in BJP, who are actively doing power, actively doing politics. So these 2 to 3 lakh people, why they are doing politics? To get power. Right. Now the top guy of BJP, Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, get absolute power. Then there is number two, Shri Amit Shah, Home Minister of India. He has a lot of power. Right. What these 2 to 3 lakh people are trying to do to get some power. Right. Power is shared among these 2 to 3 lakh people in some or other way. Right. A lot of power, even though lies with Modi ji, but even a sarpanch from BJP, right? Even a ward member from BJP has some power. Right? That is the idea. Political parties are power sharing arrangements, right? Okay. Whether you define political parties as people coming to fulfill national interest, whether you define political parties as power machines or power sharing arrangements, you cannot deny the fact. You cannot deny the fact that without political parties, there cannot be any politics, right? So political parties are essential for representative democracy. Without political parties, there cannot be representative democracy. So this code is going to be very useful to write answers, so I am trying to connect it to the topic very naturally. So what are political parties? Political parties are essential for representative democracy. Tell me one example all around the world where there is representative democracy and there are not political parties, right? Without political parties, there cannot be representative democracy, right? There has to be political party, right? How these political parties work? That is another question. How these political parties work? That is another question. And the working of political parties has been explained by a lot of people. The explanation of political parties was is given by multiple people like Lenin. We have studied Robert Mitchell's. We have studied, right? These two people we have studied. A lot of people we have to study. But in continuation of understanding political parties, which are essential for representative democracy, I will explain to you theories of political parties. And I will start with the theory which we have already studied, which is Lenin's theory of Communist Party. Lenin's theory of Communist Party, broadly classified as normative theory. Normative theory. It is a normative theory. Lenin's theory of Communist Party. Right? Communist Party. Lenin's theory of Communist Party, again given in his book Capitalism, Liberalism, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. Right? In his book Liberalism, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, he has given theory of Communist Party, whereby he explains Communist Party to be pyramidical with broad base. Right? Pyramidical with broad base. What does pyramidical with broad base mean? Right? Understand this in terms of people. Right? Understand this in terms of people. Right? The broad base of Communist Party will have 99% of the people, and the 1% will sit on this top of 99% in form of pyramid. Not 1%, maybe the distribution can be 90% and 10%. 10% will be leadership, 90% is going to be the Communist Party workers. Right? This is how he explains his theory of Communist Party. Right? Pyramidical structure with broad base. This 90% of the party will give agenda to the leadership, to the pyramidical leadership. They will give agenda to leadership with respect to what they want in their lives. 90% workers will say we want better roads. 10% leadership will give program of action. As I was saying, 90% workers, 90% base will give agenda to workers. For example, 90% workers say that we want a road. Now 10% will decide how that road will be built. Right? How that road will be built. If the road is going to be of bitumen, it is going to be of asphalt or concrete, or normal, or without anything, a kacha road. Right? It not a built road, but just a normal road. What action is going to be taken on that agenda will be decided by the 10% leadership. This Communist Party, he say, is going to be a vanguard of revolution. This Communist Party, Lenin says, is going to be vanguard of revolution. That this Communist Party will lead workers to revolution. Right? Will encourage worker for revolution. The second broad tradition with respect to theory of political party is empirical theory. Right? We have studied one normative theory, which is Lenin's theory of democracy. Now we'll start with empirical theory. The first empirical theory we have actually studied is Robert Mitchell's book Political Parties. In his book Political Parties, he has given his iron law of oligarchy. Iron law of oligarchy is about Lenin's theory only, whereby iron law of oligarchy says that like money, power also get concentrated. What Michels basically says that with respect to Lenin's theory of power, Lenin's theory of political parties, Lenin said that this 90% broad base can give agenda to 10% leadership. What Mitchell say that like money, power also get concentrated. He says that power will after a point of time will be like this: 99% of the people will lie in broad base, 99% of the people will lie in broad base, and only 1% people will have all the power. 99% can give agenda, they may give agenda, they may not give agenda. 1% will decide what is going to happen with 99%. This is iron law of oligarchy. Like money, power also get concentrated. This is the idea. Whereby Lenin says that party structure should be pyramidal with broad base. Mitchell say that it may be pyramidal with broad base, but after a point of time, 99% will not have power. Power will be concentrated with 1% of the people. This is the idea, right? The next empirical theory, Robert Mitchell's theory, is basically a criticism of Lenin's theory of political party. The next theory and the next real theory with respect to political party, a detailed theory of political party, was given by Maurice Duverger. Maurice Duverger. Maurice Duverger, in his book, again, Political Parties. Maurice Duverger, in his book, Political Parties, has given a good analysis of political parties and a really detailed analysis of political parties. Maurice Duverger was a behavioral political scientist, right? Behavioral political scientist, and he has described the the types of political parties, right? The types of political parties, or explanation of political parties. He has given a description of political parties, right? Like Mitchell has also given description of communist political parties or socialist political parties. On the other hand, normative theory of Lenin explained why political party should why political party should exist and what that political party should will going is going to do, right? It is not really descriptive but prescriptive on what should be. The rest of the theories are descriptive. So Maurice Duverger is a behavioral scientist, is a behavioral political scientist, and he has given Duverger's law. Duverger's law. Now, what is Duverger's law? What is Duverger's law? So, the next empirical theory that we have to understand is Maurice Duverger's theory. He, in his book Political Parties, has given behavioral study of politics. He has described how political parties function, right? And to describe how political parties function, he has first established relationship between electoral system and party system which a particular electoral system has, right? The first principle says that if electoral system is majoritarian, if electoral system is majoritarian, which is first past the post method, right? It will lead to two-party system. It will lead to two-party system. If you have to understand FPTP and how it leads to two-party system, watch this very fun video by CGP Gray on YouTube. Just put in your search bar FPTP and followed by CGP Gray. Right? It will explain you quite easily how FPTP changes to two-party system, or how FPTP leads to two-party system, because FPTP do not leave the voter any option, right? I will explain you what is FPTP and how it leads to two-party system, right? I will not explain you in very detail, but I'll try to explain you as easy as possible, right? Let's suppose I am running for an election in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has two big parties. Number one, Awami League. Number two, BNP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Right? General elections of Bangladesh happen, and what happens in Dhaka seat, that Awami League get 40% of the vote, gets 35% of the vote, right? Party C and Party D gets 12.5 and 12.5% of the votes each, right? So even though Awami League is in minority, it just has 40% of the votes. It wins Dhaka parliamentary. It wins Dhaka parliamentary seat. Even though Awami League is in minority, it wins Dhaka parliamentary seat. Now this happens when this happens on national level. When this happens on national level, people eventually realize that even if we vote party C and party D, the party we want to win, which might be party BNP, will not win. So the voters of party C and party D will shift to, which will eventually shift to party B in the next election cycle. Right? Some of the voters from party C and party D might be second supporters of party A. So they will stop voting for party C or party D, and they will keep voting for party A or party B. In in subsequent election cycles, party C and party D will not be existent. Only two party will exist after a point of time, which is A and B. Because if you vote for party C and party D in FPTP, there is no way either of party C or party D can get to power. So they have to vote for either party A or party B. In three election cycles, in four election cycles, when people realize that even if we are voting for the third and fourth number party, there is no way we are going to have our representation or voice heard. So they will without any choice will either shift to party A or party B. When this happens on nationwide level, only we are left with only two parties, party A or party B. So proportional representation, no, sorry, not FPTP, majoritarian form of electoral system, FPTP eventually turns two-party system. Right? FPTP eventually turns two-party system. This is the idea. So if you have to remember, I will say there's only one thing that thereby electoral system. If your electoral system is first past the post method, if your electoral system is majoritarian, the party system, that such electoral system will have two party system. Only two parties will exist, right? On the other hand, proportional representation is there, right? I will again go back to Dhaka example, A, B, C, D, right? A has 40% of votes, B has 35, again 12.5, 12.5, right? In Bangladesh, Awami League, let's suppose, get all across Bangladesh, in all seats of Bangladesh, everywhere in Bangladesh, Awami League gets 40% of the votes, BNP gets 35% of the votes, Party C gets 12.5% of the votes, and D gets 12.5% of the votes as well. So what will be the representation they will have in National Assembly? Proportionate to this: 40, 35, 12.5, and 12.5. Not exactly 12.5, but right, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Proportional to the votes proportional to the votes you have, you get representation in National Assembly. Proportional to the votes you have, you get representation in National Assembly. This is the idea, right? In such situation, right, in FPTP, what happened that even if you got 40% of the vote, you can be the only representative from your constituency. Let's suppose, right? Let's suppose, right? What I was trying to say. If you even if you have 40% of the votes, you will have you can be the only representative from your uh, from your constituency in FPT. But assembly, right? This is how it works, right? You have only 40% of the votes in National Assembly to form government. To form government, you either have to you have either have to form coalition with C or D or A. You cannot form government on your own, because to form government you need 50% of the seats, and as you do not have 50% of the seats, you will form coalitions with A, C or D. That is why proportional representation, right? If your electoral system is proportional representation, it will lead to multi-party system, right? It will lead to multi-party system. Now this multi-party system, or the principle which Duverger gives, right? If I have to summarize this principle in one line, it is going to be like this: if electoral system is majoritarian, it will lead to two-party system. If electoral system is proportionate, it will lead to multi-party system. But in India, we have FPTP. But Indian politics never had true true two-party system, right? We can categorize Indian party system true two-party system. Why? Why? Because BJP is a nationwide dominant party. INC is a nationwide dominant party, right? BJP in 2024 elections has got around 240 seats. INC got 99 seats, right? Proportionate to this, TMC has got around 50 seats. SP has around 50 seats. Right? Shiv Sena has around 20 seats. I don't remember correctly, but Shiv Sena, the Uddhav one, right? Then NCP had some seats. So again, Nationalist Congress Party. Then Northeast, there is one party of, I don't know, one nationalist party is from Northeast. That party has also got some seats. DMK has got some seats, right? So a lot of regional outfits. AAP also has. I don't know if AAP got any seats, but I don't. No, AAP did not get any seats, right? Akali Dal has got some seats, right? Every party will have significant number of seats in 2024 election cycle, right? Parties had significant number of seats in to 2024 election cycles, and this happens very often, right? Coalition government has been norm from 1999 to 2014. Only recently we have seen absolute majority governments in 2014 and 2019. In 2024 again it is coalition government, it is not absolute majority government, right? So India has never been a two party system, even though it had FPTP. Why? Because number one, diversity. We have diversity like anything, right? कोस कोस पे बदले पानी, चार कोस पे बानी. On every kilometer, you see change of water. On every 4 kilometers, you see change of language. That is how diverse our country is. So why India had never had two party system? Because diversity. Number two, why India had never had two party system? Because we have very strong regional feelings. And number three, India is not nation state. India is not nation state. India is a democracy, whereby application of principle of nation, which is race, is applied on level of state, right? Which is applied on level of state. So what is the principles that Duverger have given? He basically has said that there are, if majoritarian system is there, FPTP is there, two party system. If proportional representation is there, then multi party system. But India never had true two party system. Why? Because of diversity, regional feelings. India is a state nation, not a nation state. Right? The the second the second principle in Duverger's law. This is the first principle, that is relationship between electoral system and party system. The second principle is the second principle is he has he has established relationship between ideology and structure of political party. Ideology and structure of political party. He has established relationship between ideology and structure of political party. Right? So he says that if your party is liberal, right? If your party is liberal, branch type. If your party is communist, then your party type is cell type, right? If your party is rightist party, then your party system is caucus type. And and if your party is having armed wing, then your party system is militia type, right? Chinese Communist Party has armed wing. Party with armed wing, your party structure is militia type, right? This is second principle. Liberal Party has branch type party structure. Communist Party has cell type party structure. Rightist Party has caucus type party structure, and parties with armed wing has militia type party structure, right? uh, right, very simple to right, you just make a correlation with what kind of party structure is related to what kind of ideology, right? Then the third principle that Duverger have given is that he has categorized parties as number one, mass parties, and number two, cadre parties. Mass parties are liberal parties, and cadre parties are right leaning parties or left leaning parties. Mass parties are liberal parties, and cadre parties are either right leaning parties or left leaning parties. The fourth principle that Duverger has given, right? Parties in terms of origin. First uh, origin is interior party. Interior party. Interior party is parliament, formed out of parliament. Example, example, uh, parties of parties of UK, Labour Party and Conservative Party. This distinction between labor and conservative has been done in parliament, right? There is distinction which happened in parliament. Then exterior parties, right, which are formed out of parliament. Example: Indian National Congress formed out of parliament, out of Indian National Movement. Then AAP formed due to India Against Corruption. So this was Duverger's core principle with respect to political parties. You see, first there is a relationship between electoral system and party system. The second relationship he has analyzed is form of ideology and structure of political parties. The third categorization is it's with respect to mass parties and cadre parties, and he has given fourth distinction with respect to interior parties and exterior parties. Oh, so this was Duverger's law. I hope it helped. I will start from the next lecture, and we'll start with the concept of party system. We have understood political parties. From the next lecture, we'll try to understand the concept of party system. Thank you so much. I hope this helped.